work better if I do that, huh? Okay, it's 5:15. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let's see. See if I get everything in order to write. Okay. Um, Emergency exits out the back door to your left, to your right, either in the front lawn or the parking lot. Gary, make sure I don't miss anything. Yes, call to order. There we are. Okay. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Member Boyer? Here. Vice Chairman Schuler?
Here.
Chairman Brennan?
Here.
Member Pillar?
He's excused.
Member Poley? Not present yet?
Okay. Did the emergency evacuation plan. Meeting minutes from 12/17/25. I would like to make a substantive amendment to the meeting minutes to accept Mr. Riley's letter into the records. Can I have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended. If I could have a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we're going to open public comment on docketed items. We got a couple of things tonight. As some of you may be aware, there is a very large planning meeting, so we will lose Zoom at approximately 6:15. So I would like any comments to be kept as brief as possible on the docketed items if we can, so just so we can move the meeting along. Let's see. I would also request anybody who wants to make a comment on a docketed item, just to avoid confusion and to keep things moving, just reference which item it is. You can do it by letter on the agenda or however you want to do that. So, do we have any public comments on docketed items? I don't think we need a motion to open it, do we? For hearings, we do. I don't think we do for motions. Yes.
Hi, Mark Lamoy, 34 Island Drive, president of Johnson's Pond Civic Association. So I don't have the agenda in front of me. I don't know what letter the docketed item is, but it's something about considering or discussing the next public workshop, public meeting. I just ask that you consider having it at the high school due to my concerns over the attendance. I think it's going to be very well attended. And the other item I'd like to bring up is to consider possibly not breaking out into work groups or workshops or separate groups. Just simply my opinion, knowing this crowd over the last 5 years, hosting many of these Johnson's Pond meetings, the type of crowd they want to hear what everyone else has to say, and ideas that others may have, to come up that others have that they didn't think about. And just like to, think the high school is the best format for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on docketed items? Anybody on Zoom? Is there anybody on Zoom? No one on Zoom. Okay, so we will close public comment on docketed items. First agenda item, agency meeting schedule for 2026. You each have a copy of that. This was an oversight. We should have voted on this last month. Any discussion as far as the dates? This is pretty much the last February, or the last Wednesday of each month, with the offsets for November and December because of the holidays. Do I have a motion to accept the meeting schedule?
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's move on. Okay, we have a presentation tonight from our GZA consultants. Oh, sorry, wrong one. You would each received a copy of the current project expenditures. Okay, is there any questions concerning that? It's pretty straightforward. No questions? No questions. Okay. Status of the signed legal letter of engagement with Angel Law. There has been a resolution to that that satisfies the town. As far as I'm concerned, this is a done deal, and we are on to contact. The town feels the same way. Any
I
discussion?
do. I just have a question. What date was the LOE signed?
Let's see. It would have been 5/28/25.
Okay, so at the 5:28 meeting, at the 5 minute and 12 second mark, the vote was tabled so that members could go over the LOE in more detail.
You know what? That was when the resolution was, the meeting minute. We did that, and then we voted on it at the next meeting, which was
Correct,
the-
but I have the signed document and it is dated 5:28. However, it was voted on 6/25. So I'm not sure how the document could have been signed beforehand.
How do you have the signed document, seeing that it's been missing?
It's available in the right areas. So that document is signed 5/28. It was voted on 6/25. So I'm not sure how that could be a binding document if it was signed before the vote was taken.
Okay, I'm not an attorney. Okay.
And
We
our
have-
attorney is not here.
Our attorney is stuck in traffic.
Okay.
Okay. According to the town solicitor, okay, everything is fine as far as this contract goes. Okay, the town does not have an official copy of
Have
it.
you spoken with the town solicitor recently?
I spoke with the town manager. I have an email from the town manager saying that, verifying this.
Mm-hmm.
This is really a non.
I have spoken with the solicitor. It is an issue because there was a document that was signed before it was voted on. I'm not sure why you don't think that's an issue.
I'm not sure why you did not bring this to my attention, that you had a copy of the document so that I could work on it.
I've
To
asked,
my knowledge, and to the knowledge of the town clerk's office, the town manager, and everybody else that I've talked to, there was no official signed document in the town
well,
records.
it's interesting that I got my hands on it.
Well, it is.
However, it was signed before it was voted on, so I don't think that it's a binding document.
Well, it is. Okay. Invoices have been paid. Okay. Whether it was misplaced.
I just
and
want
fi-
residents to be aware that the LOE with Mr. Angel and the RDA was signed on 5/28 and was not voted on until 6/25. And that Mr. Brennan, you see no problem with that. I just want that to be very clear to the public,
I do not see a problem with that.
that it was signed
Is it-
preemptively before it was voted on.
I'm going by the recollections of the then council chairman. I'm going by the opinion that we got from the town manager through the solicitor. I'm going from the fact that we voted on it.
I'm going by dates and a signed
Okay.
document.
So what is your ask here?
My ask is why it was signed
And why-
before it was voted on.
Well, I have no idea where you got the signed document. I have not seen that signed document. All right. So I can't answer your question.
Okay. That's fine. I don't believe it's a binding document.
Everybody else in the world seems to. So
Sir, respectfully, they don't. And you're the only one who still wants Stephen Angel as the solicitor here. He's being investigated by other parts of the town, but you see no issue with him working for the RDA. That's a problem with me, and that's a problem with many, many residents. So it's not okay that it was signed before it was voted on.
okay. Interestingly enough, Ms. Boyer, okay, the only person that has directly addressed me with a problem concerning our engagement with Angel Law is you.
They
Nobody else has contacted
up
me.
at the town council meeting when
This is not the town council meeting, madam.
you're telling me I'm the only person who's brought up this issue with you.
Yes.
And it was brought up by every council member in the town at the meeting right here. I was here for the meeting, sir.
It was not. Okay.
Would you like,
Would you like to? Yeah, I have no documentation that anybody has a problem with that.
you don't
Okay.
believe that that was brought up?
I know what was brought up. Yes, please.
If you do have a copy of the contract, is it possible to get that for our records?
Yeah, I'll email it to
We
you.
do not have it, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. No problem.
very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure what your issue with Angel Law is, and I particularly don't care. Okay? He is legal counsel for this agency. And as such, he should be respected. And as such, we will pay his invoices after they've been reviewed. You evidently do not have enough interest in what the unredacted invoices say to have asked to
I've
meet him.
emailed 3 times to
Uh-uh.
see them, and Mr. Angel does not respond to my emails or my phone calls. Would you like to
have-
see the email history?
I don't want to get into this. We don't have time. We have important business to deal with here. Okay? This is trivial. This is disruptive. Okay? It serves no purpose.
I'm a member of this agency just like you are, sir, and my concerns are going to be raised and they're going to be answered.
I have no answer for you at this point in time.
I'm aware.
It's something that you have just dumped on me in the middle of a meeting. You could have emailed that to me. You could have emailed a
I'm
request.
still waiting on a
and you-
response from my last email to you.
I've sent it.
Sure. Okay, let's move on.
Would you like to see my documentation on that?
Let's move on, Mr. Brennan.
I would like to ask you one question. Okay? Why are you on this agency? You have done nothing but add disruption elements to it. So why are you here?
I am here, and I'm going to give you the same answer that I gave the town when I applied for this position, because I want this to be a better place for my kids and my family. And what's going on now, it's just not. It's a mess. There's so many things going on behind the scenes that people don't know, and it's a mess. And we're going to clean it up and we're going to make it a great place. And there's a lot of people that aren't going to be a part of that, but Coventry is going to be a great place. Is that a good enough answer for you, Mr. Brennan?
I would like to see your actions on it because so far you have not been very constructive in this process. All right, we're going to move on because we do have a deadline here. And it's just undignified to have this kind of an argument.
Well, then let's move on. We don't have a lot of time.
Okay, I see Mr. Angel has finally managed to get out from behind the traffic. And we have not taken the agenda out of order, so if you would like to do your presentation. No, we're not. We're still in order. Yep.
Are we moving the presentation?
Thank you. My apologies.
Oh, hey, hang on, hang on a second. Yeah, we're on D. No.
Are we moving that?
No, that's down here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. My apologies. There was an accident on 95 right at exit 21. So I hope everybody's okay. So I had written at the leadership's request a memorandum concerning the fiduciary duties of board members for the benefit of the entire board, if that's what the leadership chose to do with it. There really is not anything confidential in this memorandum. So if the agency wants to vote to waive the attorney-client privilege and publish the memorandum, you should do that. But, to just essentially go over the duties of loyalty and the duties of care that are imposed on agency members as a result of common law and a result of, statutory responsibilities imposed by the Rhode Island Code of Ethics and actually also by the redevelopment statute itself. The memorandum speaks for itself, with respect to pecuniary interests and conflicts that agency members may have in respect to redevelopment projects. That's pretty self-explanatory what those are. They're laid out in the memorandum. But the non-pecuniary disclosure of confidential information can also cause a breach of the loyalty and care, the fiduciary duty of that the agency members owe, not just to the agency, but to the public. And that's also been discussed in the memorandum. Mr. Chairman, I don't know, did you publish that to the board members? So, my sense would be that should be published. The vote should be taken so that it can be published to the public and sent to the board members. with an eye towards more substantive discussion to take Q&A from board members, if they have questions. But, the reality is that there is, there's sensitive information involved in redevelopment projects, not all of which is ripe, for discussion in public, whether it be acquisition of land issues, whether it be other transactional issues related to development. It's laid out in the memorandum, but it's just to reiterate to board members that they have, two masters to serve, which is the mission of the agency itself and the public interest, which, are generally the same. And in particular, the law is pretty clear that, the different laws and acts create a substantial conflict, between members' public policy preferences and this one duty to uphold the collective obligations and missions of mission of a redevelopment agency. So there's a balance to be made there, but, essentially agency members individually don't get to decide when confidential information becomes public information or proprietary information becomes public information. That can only be done by affirmative vote of the agency as a whole. So that, in a nutshell, is what it is. 4 pages worth of reading that, I think my recommendation would be, waive the attorney-client privilege on the advice and publish it.
I asked that Mr. Angel prepare this because this is something that Mr. Schuler and myself had a discussion about at the very beginning of our involvement in this back in 2024. Okay. It fully explains what our responsibilities are. We have since had 3 new members. And we're getting to a point in the project in which information is going to have to go out to the membership for review before a meeting. We're getting past the data gathering, getting into the plan development. So I just wanted it to be clear what everybody's duties are, what everybody's responsibilities are on that information that has not yet been accepted into the public record. It's the only purpose of this. Okay, it's a refresher for Mr. Schuler and myself as well. I would like to entertain a motion to waive attorney-client privilege for this memorandum and have it entered into the public record. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I will. Stephen, are you going to get a copy out to that or you want me to?
You can send what you have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
That's fine. And my recommendation would be that it should be sent to the town clerk. If you'd like, I can provide you with a copy that indicates that the privilege has been waived by vote. And you can publish that
Okay.
document. So I'll do that if you like.
Yes, if you do that, and then I will publish it out to everybody as soon as I
Okay.
get that. Okay. Okay, next item, report on environmental requirements, comment to any pond-related projects. This is Member Poley, who is not here tonight. We'll skip on to the next one. The next one is similar for Ms. Boyer, concerning outreach to other municipalities, public, private access to ponds, et cetera. Do you have anything to report?
In respective time, do you want me to go through everything that I've put together, or do you want me to pass these out for
You
you?
can pass it out or you can send us copies of it.
So I'll go through what I have here briefly and just kind of touch on some bullet points.
That would be great.
I reached out to several municipalities with ponds similar to Johnson's Pond in size, in residential impact, recreational use. I reached out and spent some time with town administrators, planning departments, parks and rec staff, harbor masters, town clerks. And And just jumping through this quickly, I did some research in South Kingstown on Warden Pond, Charleston, I believe it's pronounced Watchog Pond, Burrville for Spring Lake and Gloucester, Smith and Sales Reservoir. There was a lot of great information. Everybody was very kind and very happy to reach out and help us out with this. Let's see. As far as access goes, most peer communities provide at least one formal or well-recognized access location. Other towns rely on it for policies, for written ordinances and posted rules that clearly explain what is allowed. Towns like Charleston and South Kingstown emphasize and encourage public input when making access rules. My concern with Johnson Spawn, again, is that recent decisions have raised concerns because of limited availability for the public to involve themselves. Some common ordinances used across the state. Most municipalities, again, rely on clear, practical ordinances rather than outright bans. They have found that to be more helpful. Public access and use rules, access being limited to designated areas because we do want to respect people who do own property on the pond and have owned property on the pond. Coming up with some use rules for fishing. Some places have non-motorized versus motorized boating rules, restrictions on trespassing, noise, and unsafe activity. As far as the boating regulations go, that was a tough one for me. I don't have a lot of background in that area. I don't think it's fair for me to come up with those things or make recommendations on those things when I don't know enough about that. What I did find out was happening in a lot of these other places that were similar. They were creating clear posted signage for no wake zones or low speed, limit areas around where public access would be. Most places specify sizes of boats or limit horsepower. I know that's kind of a touchy subject. Again, I don't know enough about that to have any input on that. What I did think was interesting is that some areas have time of day restrictions for boating, finding that dawn to dusk limited a lot of unsafe activity and alcohol-related issues. As far as swimming goes, it was pretty much straightforward across, only swimming in designated areas, no swimming near boat launches, no boating or jet skiing near swim areas. And there were a lot of swim at your own risk signs. Many in the ponds and the lakes I found do not have lifeguards. And there's a lot of back and forth on this topic. Personally, I would rather have the peace of mind in having lifeguards in areas where kids could come to swim without a parent or guardian and not see signs like swim at your own risk. But I guess they were kind of standing on those rules reduce liability while still preserving access. As far as environmental goes, they, again, pretty straightforward across the board here. No dumping or fueling in the water, invasive species prevention, buffer zones near shorelines. Fertilizer and pesticide limits are used exclusively in South Kingstown and Charleston, and they stated they had great success and cooperation from residents with that. We did talk about parking. And I thought that that was kind of a hot topic too. There was a lot of input put in on that. Parking hours are some things that some places use. They have limited hours of when you can park, how long you can stay. Carry in, carry out rules also help with the money that's put into DPW coming and, dumping trash. Preferred resident only parking, having more parking spots, limited non-resident parking, having less parking spots so that we do kind of give a right of way to residents for the area, and tow-away zones so that we're not, again, disrupting anybody who, is kind of grandfathered into that area, if you will, or owns the property over there. And that manages congestion without eliminating access. Again, just to briefly sum up, most towns rely on, the posted rules, the use at your own risk, swim at your own risk, enter at your own risk. And what I found interesting in South Kingstown was that they use complaint-based enforcement, and they said that minimizes liability without heavy policing, and it also saves from paying a nonstop patrol boat out in the area. But yeah, there's a lot more info in here, but just for the sake of time, those are some bullet points and some things that I found that I think could be really helpful as far as moving along with this.
Good information. Thank you. Just one question. Look at South Kingston and Warden Pond. It's a pond I'm somewhat familiar with, and I'm not familiar with town access. It's all state access. Are they just reposting what the state access is?
So I believe that they go through, is there I'm not familiar with the area. I forgot what they told me. I believe it's woods over there that are public, like all state-owned property, and they go
Right,
through
you have
that.
great
So-
swamp management area on
Exactly.
one side of it.
Right,
And then
So
on the
they're-
other side of it, you have a very nice boat ramp and a very nice parking area.
right.
They
So
have a
they're
very good
using the
facility there.
state property
Okay,
to
that's-
access through over
That
there.
was my question,
Yeah.
yeah. Any other questions, Chris?
No, this is great. I would just want to, if it's possible, can you share the people at each of these locations in case we need to follow up with them and use them as a resource in the
Absolutely.
future? Just for the 4 spots.
Sure.
Thanks.
Let's see. Okay, let's move on that because I think that's some good information. Thank you. Okay, next item is a much more pleasant one. Well, that one wasn't unpleasant, but it's a recognition of the Johnson's Pond Civic Association president for providing data and other information on the agency concerning Johnson's Pond. And I just want to publicly thank Mr. Lemoy for the vast amount of data that he's provided the agency. It has been extremely helpful. And I'm sure our GZA consultants would concur. So thank you, Mr. Lemoy. Next item is the GZA report on the current status of the redevelopment plan for Johnson's Pond. And I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Scarlett there, and she'll continue from here.
Thank you, Bob. I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to provide a quick update on where we are with each of the tasks that were in our scope of work. Do you all see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So project development, we have 100% completed this task. We have defined the redevelopment area. While it has not been adopted, this is provided on the project website and is 100% complete and ready for adoption when the plan is to be adopted. We are 50% of the way drafting the redevelopment plan. We're about 60% of the way with the outreach coordination and meetings. We are about 75% of the way with our project management administration and website development. And then I just wanted to note the out of scope tasks that we've been working on. We do have the first stakeholder workshop that was canceled in August that has been completed. We have additional ongoing engagement that was not included in our scope of services, but happy to help out. And the last is the comprehensive plan updates, which we provided to the town planning director on January 15th. So I just want to reiterate that that was complete as well and in review. I also wanted to just go through briefly what we have prepared to satisfy each of the redevelopment plan requirements per the Rhode Island general law. And again, I'll be brief. We have the redevelopment study area and description on the project website. To satisfy the blight and substandard conditions, there is a memorandum on blight finding, which will be submitted to the full RDA after this meeting. We were waiting to discuss the fiduciary responsibilities. And so now that that has been discussed, we can release that for full RDA review. There's the water quality report, which is being updated thanks to Mr. Lemoy and the Johnson's Pond Civic Association providing great amount of additional data that's extremely important to include. We have a candidate sites assessment that we have prepared and is being reviewed internally. This will be presented at the second public meeting in addition to further advanced concept designs for the dam property as well as Francis Sherman Park. For population densities, the redevelopment plan does not propose any changes to density or building intensity. Land coverages are still being contemplated, and after the second public meeting, we will be updating based on that and public input. Description of proposed changes, any potential in streets and utilities, any potential modifications to streets, utilities associated with enhancement for public access will be finalized once land use approaches and concept plans are discussed at the second public meeting. I want to reiterate that this is very dependent on public input. We do want to get the public's input before we start proposing any of these changes. Zoning changes may be considered for future potential long-range access plans as identified in that candidate site assessment. However, the redevelopment plan is not proposing any specific zoning changes, variances, or modifications. Conformity with the general plan, as discussed, we submitted suggested comprehensive plan additions to the planning director on January 15th. The statement showing lands to be acquired or buildings to be demolished. We do want to note that the redevelopment plan is not proposing demolition or removal of buildings or structures within the redevelopment study area boundary at this time. If such needs are required at future potential long-range access properties, the redevelopment plan will consider potential site needs. The conditions, covenants, and other restrictions. We have also submitted a memorandum on history, context, and future governance responsibilities, which will now be released to the overall RDA for review before public release. General statement on displacement of housing or persons. The implementation of this plan is not anticipated to propose relocation of residents, businesses, or other occupants within the boundary. A statement on costs. We have identified local, state, and federal funding sources. We are going to provide a preliminary order of magnitude cost estimates for Francis Sherman Park and the dam property before the second public meeting, and that will be discussed at the second public meeting. And final plan estimates such as operational maintenance and capital improvements and potential methods for financing will be prepared following the second public meeting. And lastly, a general statement showing conformance with the relevant Rhode Island general law will be provided in the redevelopment plan. I also wanted to share a redevelopment plan process timeline.
Sarah, can I interject for one moment?
Absolutely.
I just want to note on that Excel list, those are a list of statutes, requirements that are required of a redevelopment plan. So even though they might not seem as good fits, they're meant to be overly generic, you know, as they apply to this type of redevelopment plan, and it's required as a statutorily correct redevelopment plan. So that is like the core of the document in terms of
Correct.
meeting those state requirements. Sorry,
Correct.
Sarah,
And the document that I had noted on the blight assessment, as well as the history, context, and future governance are all documents that are going to help be part of the redevelopment plan. So those are pieces of the redevelopment plan that will be reviewed by the redevelopment agency before it is released to the public. This timeline right here, we also intend to put this on the website along with another timeline that we have about the ownership of the dam and pond. These will be uploaded to our project website for some clarity and so that the public can know where we are in the process. I want to reiterate that we will have the second public meeting on February 25th. That is our next step. We are preparing for that meeting. We have the candidate sites assessment that we will be presenting, and we anticipate a draft plan for public review at the beginning of April.
Thank you, Sarah. That's a lot of information.
Yes, trying to understand that we are crunched on time today.
I do appreciate it. As I hope you can see, a lot has been going on in the background, and it's now starting to all gel in together. Each of you received copies of these documents. The history, hang on a second. Okay, the history, the revised public okay, the blight finding, thank you.
Yes.
The revised public meeting process. I don't know if you've had a chance to review them. The documents that she just showed, the graphs, I did get those out to you tonight. If you didn't get a chance to review them, I can understand it was very late. I got them around 3:30, had them out to you about 3:45. What I would like to do at this point is to, let's see, where are we here? Okay, to vote to release the document for the comprehensive plan. This is a housekeeping thing. It's sent up and we have not released it, so we would like to entertain a a vote or a motion to release that information to the planning department. Can I have that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that part is taken care of. As far as the history and context and the blight finding, can I have a motion to accept those into the record?
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I would like to entertain a motion to take that information and put it up onto our website as public documents. Can I have a motion on that?
Make a motion.
These are the graphics we received earlier, correct, to put up on the website?
Not yet. These are the two things that we just
Oh, okay.
voted to accept.
Okay. You made a motion?
Mhm.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The graphic timelines that were just presented, I'd like to I'd like to hear a motion to accept those and publish them up on the website.
I'll make a motion.
Yep, I didn't get a chance to review them before the meeting, and I'm looking at them now quickly. But everything looks accurate to me as a quick scan. Can I just read one more part of this before I say? Okay, got it. It looks good. Yeah,
Okay. Are you seconding?
checking.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, review and adoption of the draft Johnson's Pond Public Outreach Plan. Is there any discussion on this? You've all received a copy.
No.
No discussion.
Can I have a motion to accept?
Yep, I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, last item. I think we can get through this. Discussion relating to the location, format, and notification of the next public outreach meeting concerning the Johnson's Pond redevelopment plan. So what we have here is essentially two possible sites. One would be the senior center, which I'm told has a capacity of 340, which we're a little skeptical of. That would be very tight. Better format, but we've heard concerns about the size. The other alternative is, of course, the high school, and make arrangements for that. Not as good an environment for that type of discussion, but it has the capacity. So, Sarah, do you have the figures from the last one, from the first public meeting, as far as what the attendance was? I think we lost her. Oh, there she is.
Maybe the way.
We were about 200 people at the last public meeting. I can verify that.
Okay. What are your opinions?
I just, again, following up with what Mr. Lemoy said, I feel like this is going to be a very heavy census at this one. I feel like we're going to have a much higher attendance than we did the last time. I think the high school personally is a better option. I also don't like the breakout rooms. I feel like I missed a lot of what was happening with the breakout rooms. I didn't get to hear everybody speak. And I like to hear everyone's ideas. So I think the high school is probably the best idea personally, but I would like everyone to stay in the auditorium together so everybody can hear everyone.
I'd like to confirm that the last public meeting was about 150 participants. And that's based on what we saw for who signed in.
Agreed. I like the idea of the high school, and I agree. One big meeting sounds good to me.
Okay, I have no strong feelings one way or the other. My concern is that the auditorium itself was not particularly conducive. That doesn't mean we might not be able to look at other areas within the high school that have a large capacity, cafeteria, for example. I don't know if there's ball games are going on that night, the gymnasium.
What wasn't conducive was like this. Do you mean like the sound or?
It just seemed to me a little bit more of a presentation rather than a workshop. for the presentation part, that's fine. The idea of having the breakout rooms was the workshop and get a bunch of ideas. If we don't go with that, and the high school has a lot of limitations, as we found last time on that, we run into the same kind of thing in which we're not bringing things back in a manner that seems seamless, and it's just the physicality of the space itself. So
Can we ask GZA just for a little bit of forecast of their agenda or what they see as what the meeting will look like to just so we know this way,
Yeah.
as we're making a decision on location. It sounds like the high school makes sense for everybody. I just want to, out of curiosity, what's your vision for this public workshop? Because obviously these are the last one was great. We had great turnout, great opportunity for people to speak. I like the feedback that, you know, some people, the idea was that it was a workshop, so we wanted smaller groups at that time. And then on the flip side of that, then not everybody heard what was happening in each room. So based on what you've heard here tonight, that we all agree, we like the idea of doing something big with everybody. Can we make that work for your vision for this thing?
Yeah, Sarah, I'll go ahead and field this. Mr. Schuler, thank you for the comment. And I do definitely respect Ms. Boyer and Mr. Lemoy's point of view in having a full open forum. It makes it much less of a workshop and a public, like a public comment, section. And it also, our original intent really in terms of the development of this plan is, to put some of the development of the concepts in the hands of the community, which does not work with an audience of 250 people. Now, having said that, I think we can work this out, and we obviously we've been discussing this a lot, both of these options, and we heard what Mr. Lemoy said, and I knew that Ms. Boyer also wanted to have an open forum, and not the inability to hear what's going on in the individual breakout rooms is problematic. So my thought here is, we're going to have advanced concepts for the two town-owned properties. We're going to have, large maps that show, some of the vacant and for sale lands that may propose opportunities to town, in the future for additional recreational programming. We can discuss the background, how we got here, what are the purposes of today's meeting and what are we looking out of it? And then we can basically, we'll have to, given the number of people, we're going to have to position people with microphones around the auditorium. After we do the presentation, we're going to have to break, each concept. So, the dam property access points and concepts and constraints. And we'll have to go over those as a group, and then go over, the other locations, and then look at the broader scheme and just hear some people's ideas. So we have to break it out into pieces, and we'll have to limit people's comment times just so we can get out of there before midnight. So everybody have to understand, and obviously people can come back up. And I think we'd have 2 podiums so people can sort of line up in, say, threes, so we don't have long lines. And it's like a public forum. It's almost like a public hearing, and solicit people's comments. We'll have note takers, and be able to do it that way. That way we'll hear every single comment. It'll be much easier to live stream if we want to do that, rather than doing 4 or 5 breakout rooms, but I think that's how we have to approach it. And so I'm hoping in this process, because we're going to have to come in with content that people can respond to. And we understand that, and everybody needs to understand in that content, these are just concepts that people can bounce ideas off of, and, give us what they like and what they don't like. And did you think about this and that? And I think that process will work, as opposed to sitting down with sort of maps and having a smaller group of people. I think in the interest of full public disclosure, we can make that work. It's really about making sure people have the opportunity to comment, and that it doesn't dissolve into like a grandstanding event. And I think we can do that by just properly respecting, everybody's, the heated
Okay, so,
concerns that people
Kevin, I'm
have.
going to interrupt you just because of
Yeah.
time restraints
Of
here.
course.
So I think we're all in agreement that we should pursue the high school as a venue and do it as a single room? Okay. We'll pursue that and keep working on that. I think there's things that we can do. Last item on this that I want to make sure we get into is notification to the public. Okay. So what we have available to us, to my knowledge anyway, is we have the Coventry reminder, we have the redevelopment agency website, we have the town website, the town social media sites. I'm told that we could actually use the code red system on this and the potential of doing a mailing. Okay. I'm just going to state my two things that I object to on these things is, and this is personal, and you know, I'm not trying to shove this down anybody's throat. I don't like the idea of using the code red system. We get a code red, I get notifications to computers, phones, my wife's computer, my house phone, and you know, it's not an emergency. And my concept of this is that it was supposed to be an emergency notification. Am I going to die on that hill? Absolutely not. The second thing is mailing. And I just don't think we're going to get enough return on an investment for a mailing notification. I think we'd be far better off using the other 4 means, but that's my personal opinion.
I agree. The mailing is pretty costly. The reminder is also pretty costly. I've used that in different avenues and with what I do for work. I feel like between the website and the different social media platforms, I think that's going to get a large enough group of people between that and word of mouth. I think that would handle a pretty decent portion.
I agree with you both. I tend to agree with the code red thought that you have, because I get the emergency notice, you know, when there's an emergency from the town on my phone and on my message, and I listen to it because I know something could be alarming, right? And I would fear that if we start a precedent for a meeting, then maybe every committee in the town, like I don't want to get a message about the Historical Preservation Society texted to me like it's an emergency when I'm at work or home, or so I tend to agree that I think code red should be
I feel like it would be an abuse of the
code
code
red.
red
Yeah.
system personally.
Okay.
Yeah, it
so-
sounds like a good. It sounds like we have a good plan, and we had great attendance at the last meeting, and
Yeah.
and those are the forms.
But I
that
think
we
there's
use.
and I think there's enough or a broad enough spectrum of contact out there that we can get word out. So I think we're all in agreement on this, that we'll go with the reminder. I know it's,
Did we do an ad
we
in
did
the?
not do it with add in the reminder.
I guess before we say yes, we should do it. We should find out how much.
Yeah, we'll pursue
It's
looking
going to
into
be.
that. Definitely the website, definitely the town website, town social media, you know.
May I ask a question about the website that we're using? The information that the public is putting on there, who is checking that?
We are.
How?
GZA is
GZA
doing.
receives the emails and then we
Okay.
send them out to the chair and vice chair. We have not received any emails, any input in over a month. Otherwise, you would see an updated comment matrix from us.
Okay.
That
Can they be
information-
sent to the whole RDA?
They're in the public meeting
It's in the
summary as
public
well.
meeting
That's up online.
section.
They all get posted.
It's all-
Anything that
Yes.
people.
104-page document of all that information up there.
Okay.
Correct.
I have just had a few people reach out to me saying that they don't think that they were being heard. So they asked me to ask. So I asked. That's
Every
all.
bit of information that we've received from the public, you know, through those channels, through the meetings and stuff, has been published up onto the website.
Okay.
There is a
Correct.
Mr. Brennan, just a deference to Ms. Boyer's comment. I think, you know, what we had to do with a number of comments, some of them are, you know, given the legal issues going on, or difficult to sort of give an immediate direct response, and something to be outcoming of the full planning. Also, we have a FAQ response that bundled like-minded, you know, or questions in together with responses. So that is there. But I do understand that people may think that we did not pick up the individual nuance of a comment, but we tried to do our best to respect, you know, kind of the process we're in, get people's response, and to try to bundle like-minded comments. But I do apologize if somehow we missed the the nuance that individuals putting questions forward or asking, you know, and if people that you're speaking to do want to resubmit a comment, you know, we can take that and then we can submit it, you know, to the RDA and say, you know, okay, this is a comment we didn't respond to before, and kind of discuss how we want to respond to it. Because some of this stuff is very delicate. Some of it's difficult to respond to, some of it's easy. But I do respect that notion that maybe people didn't feel like their individual comment got an individualized response. It's, you know, we tried to group them, but we do have a very, like, in terms of the public comments that were received at our first meeting, we do have a long document for that, but I do understand that.
And we also have a number, just to throw out there too, just so folks are aware, we have a number of people who've listed that they would like to stay anonymous
Correct.
for fear of, you know, social media retribution or
Yes.
something.
Yes,
so
there
there's a
were
number
many of
people
those comments.
Yeah, so there's a lot of anonymous, and the FAQ really does a good job in addressing, you know, because we would see maybe 3 or 4 of the same comment just reworded, and I think the FAQ, you know, did a good job. So hats off to how you were able to address those in that section.
Any other discussion? Okay, so I think we have our marching orders for getting the meeting set up. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.